Hey guys, Ryan Devlin here. Have you ever listened to players like Michael Brecker, John Coltrane, Jerry Bergonzi, Joe Henderson, Chad Lefkowitz-Brown, and wondered why or how they play so many intense modern lines? One of the biggest concepts that all of those masters have in their playing is chromatic and melodic cells. Today, we're going to tackle 5 concepts to add chromatic and melodic cells into your playing. And all the things that we talk about today can be found in Chad LB's Modern Combo Package, which has a total of 3 resources in them: 20 melodic cell etudes, 69 modern phrases, and the melodic cell package. In these, you'll find a plethora of content covering how to practice, implement, and perform with chromatic and melodic cells. If you'd like to check out this full resource, you can click the link in the description below and use code DEVLIN5 for $5 off your purchase. Alright, so let's get into topic number 1. So the best way to implement these chromatic and melodic cells into your playing is to first treat them like a technique warm-up. But let's define what a chromatic or melodic cell is first. So chromatic and melodic cells can be defined both ways depending on the context in which they're played in. A chromatic cell is something that has chromatic tones in it and doesn't really have a key center. So like C, B, B flat, C would be a chromatic cell. But a good way to memorize them is to think about them in the key center that the first and the last note of your cell is in. So C, B, B flat, C would be a C chromatic cell. A diatonic cell is a cell that is more geared towards fitting into a chord change or a progression. So C, D, E, G would be a diatonic cell in C major. Now that we understand what chromatic and melodic cells are, let's practice them like they're a technique exercise on our instrument to get them under our fingers. Here are 2 of my favorites to practice like this. The first one is a 1, 2, 3, 4 cell in all of your major keys. And we're going to practice them going up and down chromatically. Let's listen to it. So that first one's a diatonic cell, and it's really great to practice up and down chromatically at different speeds at the full range of your saxophone. So I'm going in my palm keys, I'm trying to go in my spatula keys, play the whole thing. Now here's a chromatic cell that would be 1, major 7, flat 7, 1. Chromatic cell, but again, memorizing them from the first and last note. Here it is up and down chromatically. So memorizing these, thinking about them in the tonality that they start and end on, makes it easier to then apply these to improvising, which we'll talk about later in this video. Now let's move on to the second topic, where we're going to take these cells and put them in different sequences and combine them. So we're going to take that same chromatic cell now and we're going to practice them in minor thirds apart. So we're going to create these diminished arpeggios now with that chromatic cell. I also like practicing these in the circle of fourths. Practicing them in the giant steps changes, minor third, perfect fourth. You can even practice them in rhythm changes, 1, 6, 2, 5s. Another great cell to use that John Coltrane used was a 1, 2, 3, 5 cell. So similar to that 1, 2, 3, 4 cell, now we're doing 1, 2, 3, 5s. I'm going to do this in the circle of fourths. So I'm practicing these in all parts of my horn in all different kinds of sequences to gain fluidity. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to improvise with these over rhythm changes. I'm just going to take those two cells and I'm going to use those over the chord changes to oleo, B flat rhythm changes, so you can hear how they sound. All right, let's move on to concept number 3. We're learning to be more fluid with these melodic and chromatic cells, learning how to improvise with them, learning to play them like technique exercises just all over the horn. Now we're going to combine them and make compound cells. So the example we're going to look at is from the melodic cell package. This is a compound cell that has 2 4-note cells. The first one is 1 5 flat 7 1 in the key of C. And then the next one is 1 major 7 flat 7 1 in the key of F. So now the goal is to use that and rinse and repeat the processes that we had. So put that through all 12 keys chromatically. And so on. Thinking about them as one cell and doing the same process. Improvise with that over oleo. And also you can make your own. So let's combine the 2 cells we were working with on oleo from the previous section. 1 2 3 5, 1 major 7 flat 7 1. So I went 1 2 3 5 in C, and then F, E, E flat F, and you can really make any interval work. So I use the 4th there. You can do a minor 3rd. That's a Coltrane one. You could do a 5th. You could do a flat 6. You can make your own compound cells. Just put 2 or more cells together and then rinse and repeat that process. Play it all over the horn in all different sequences and then learn how to improvise with them. That brings us to our 4th topic, which is playing these over a set tonality. So like I said at the beginning, chromatic and melodic cells really depend on the context in which you're playing them. They're both cells, they're both little pieces of information that we can combine with each other. But when you practice them in harmony, they have different contexts. So playing something inside of the key can be more of a melodic cell, and something that's played outside of the key can be more chromatic. Let's take a look at 2 examples from the 69 Modern Phrases book in Chad LB's resource. The first one we're going to look at is a minor vamp phrase. This is over concert C minor. Let's take a listen. So as you can see, we have a couple cells going in and out of the tonality there, right? The first 3 notes are in C minor, F, G, C. Then we transition to almost F sharp major, tritone away. B flat, G flat or F sharp, A flat, D flat. Then we continue that same cell and play it in G now. B, G, A, D. Then we go to A flat, C, A flat, B flat, D flat. And then that cell ends and a new one comes in. And we're in kind of the tonality of E flat 7 for 4, E flat D, D flat C, basically just going down the chromatic scale. Then we go up B major, and then we kind of come back and play a F phrase, F, E, E flat F, and then resolve D, C. So this is a great one to trade with yourself. Play 2 bars of Chad's line here, and then you use some of your compound cells to get back to C. But you'll notice in all of these examples, we always come back to the home key. We always resolve somewhere in C. So I'm going to play 2 bars of his, 2 bars of mine, and make sure I get back to C. Here's another one. I'm going to do 2 bars of my own and then 2 bars of his. So you're learning to snake through these by playing some diatonic cells and some chromatic cells. Now let's go to a progression. This is over a 2-5-1. Here's the phrase. So let's analyze this. We start in our home key of D. Only 1 note is outside of that in the entire first measure, the E flat, which is kind of a passing tone. Then over G7, we play F sharp, F, E, F sharp, F, E, E flat, F. So one cell in F sharp and one cell in F. So definitely going outside of the key there. Then we resolve to C, but use a passing tone as a C sharp to get us back home. So again, we're snaking through the tonalities. You can do the same process that we did on the minor vamp. Read part of Chad's, make your own, and resolve back to C. So I'm gonna read the first measure of Chad's and then make my own version on the dominant chord and then resolve back to C like Chad did. So the goal here is to play as many of these chromatic and melodic cells that you have under your fingers and then apply them to progressions by snaking in and out of them, but always having some kind of target tone or target tonality. Let's move on to topic number 5. Topic number 5 comes from the 20 melodic cell etudes. We're gonna look at one that's over in F blues. This is called LB blues. Let's take a listen to how it sounds. So as you can hear and see, lots of cells being put together. There's a lot of compound cells, there's a lot of chromatic cells, there's a lot of melodic cells. The goal is to put as many of these together. Just like we were doing over the 2-5-1 phrase and the minor vamp phrase, the goal with this is to read it down a couple times until you have it into your ear and then trade with Chad. When I was taking lessons with him, he would write these etudes out for me on different types of material and different concepts, and I would do the same exact thing. I would read his until I felt really confident, and then I would start making my own versions of these. Besides improvising with them, I would recommend writing your own etudes out. You can even use 2 bars of his, 4 bars of his, 8 bars of his, and then use them as launching pads to put into your own chromatic improvisation. So now I'm gonna give an example of me sort of reading this etude, but also making my own cells come into play. This is also a great way to compose songs. When I was studying with Jerry Bergonzi at England Conservatory, every concept we went over, he would make me write a song based on that concept. And it really helped me be as musical as possible while still thinking about a harmonic concept or a melodic concept or a rhythmic concept. But I wanted to make it musical enough to make a song, to make a melody. So even though we're practicing all these crazy techniques and, you know, fast, modern things, remember to always be musical. Think about writing a song with this much chromaticism. So here we go. Here's my version of Chad's LB blues going in and out of his etude and mine. Alright everyone, that concludes today's video. I really hope you found it helpful. And again, if you want to dive deeper into this, make sure you click the link in the description below to download Chad LB's Modern Combo Package. There is almost a lifetime of things in this that I still practice today. And remember to use my code Devlin5 for $5 off your purchase. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment and let us know what you want us to talk about next. I'll see you in the next video.